Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about the 100 episode 605 titled The Gospel of Josephine, which premiered Tuesday, May 28, 2019 on the CW. I'm recording a little over an hour since the episode is aired, so huge spoiler. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, my other video reminders are on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I'm going to try to do this in 20 minutes, so let's start the clock and let's begin with what happened in this episode. But first off, guys, was anyone else already going in this episode, already very upset and angry because of the injustice that was done to Clark at the end of the previous episode? I'm just saying, so some of my views might already be tinted with anger already, just because, again, this is first impressions of the episode, of what I thought, so just keep that in mind. But anyways, timeline, this episode continues from 6:04. It's definitely the same night as Josephine and Clark's body is still wearing the blue dress that she went to the party with and hooked up with Killian with, who is now dead, so I'll just leave that there. But episode reminder is the fact that Josephine is now in charge of Clark's body, which I'm still hugely pissed about, so there is that. Episode objective is the fact that we are finally discovering the secret behind the primes. I mean, a lot of us suspected. Probably not more so than what happened in the previous episode. But now we actually get, our characters knowing about it, too. So it's yes. Okay, so huge storyline breakdown, sorry. In the episode is 3 different ones I picked up on. The first one being secrets behind the primes. Second one being hunting in the woods. And the third one is Abby's obsession. So the first storyline pretty much is Jordan's investigation into what happened to Delilah, which then led to what Project Eureka is about, and that is the resurrection of the primes and how they're inserting their memory drives, which are their versions of the flame chips, and putting them into these host bodies. So now we have Jordan, Gaia, Bellamy, and Murphy in the know of what it means to be a prime. So there's that. And unfortunately, Josie was also there, while all of them believed it was Clark. So there's that. Second storyline with Hunting in the Woods focused on Octavia and Diosa chasing after a child of Gabriel, which is Xavier, aka Dr. Kalu from The Good Doctor. So there's that. They end up getting trapped in quicksand, which he calls, or what they call, the Crucible. And all he wants to know from him is about who else is a Nightblood, or he calls it blood alteration, and who else has memory drives. Octavia doesn't want Diosa to say anything, while Diosa is telling Octavia, you're gonna die either way, so just say it, who are you trying to protect, type of thing. So anyways, there's that, and that gives a lot more of a type of more insight into Octavia and Diosa, considering the button heads and the fact that they were on opposite sides of the war in the season 5 over Eden. So there's that. So the third storyline is kind of smaller in the fact that we deal with Abby's obsession, and that was her trying to pour over all of Sanctum's medical information to try to find a way to save Kay. Despite Jackson's attempts to try to get her to take a breath, to eat, to take care of herself first. But she's now transferred her addiction tendencies towards her research, where she's not doing anything but researching. So there's that. Now, the last moments of the episode show Josephine revealing herself as Josephine in Clark's body to Murphy and asking him if he wants to be immortal too. Because he, out of the group, seems to be on the side of this is not our fight to battle. He's more intrigued at the idea of being able to live forever through this concept that the primes have gone forward with. So she sees that, and she wants to kind of use that to her advantage, since everyone else is kind of against the fact that they are sacrificing innocent people, though Josie sees it as not a sacrifice if the hosts themselves are giving themselves to the procedure. So many things wrong with that, I'm just saying, but let's move on to characters very quickly. So between last episode and this episode, I went and tried to find out any more information about the primes, and pretty much there are 12 primes from 4 families. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's 3 members from 4 families. 3, right? It could just be a mix of just 2 people to 4 people to, you know what I mean? So, so far, I've only accounted for 10 of the 12, or at least faces to name. So we have Russell Lightbourne, Simone, and Josephine. Those are the major 3 that we know of. And then there's Priya, who just possessed Delilah, and Priya's son Riker, who Raven met in the previous episode. And then there's Kaylee, who was one of the hijackers to trying to take the transport ship. And then there's her husband, her daughter, and then there was one other person in her family. I don't know, but there was 4 of them that were trying to hijack the transport ship. So that leads us to 9 right now. And then apparently Miranda, whoever that is, apparently she was the one also standing during the whole ceremony with them, and she's a little shorter. She had like that multicolored hair, but she's one of them as well. But that's what Wiki says, so I don't know who the other 2 are, but there's that. Now, with that being said, let's talk about Josephine. We do find out a lot more about her in this episode. So she is possessing Clark. We also find out that she's been dead for 6 years due to an accident. She wasn't even supposed to be next in line to take a host. So there's that. We do find out that she's the author of a lot of books. We do have that she was the author of that children's book that explained about the red sun eclipse. She's also the author of a medical book that Abby had read and thought that her book's views on purifying the blood were psychotic, while Josephine as Clark claims it to be a visionary. So there's that. We also see Josephine finding Murphy cute. We also see her finding out that Clark is not not born of Nightblood, but she was created as a Nightblood. So that gives her hope that they aren't a dying breed, as she puts it. So there's that. And then we do find out, we do see for ourselves that her first act back is killing Kaylee as revenge, because Kaylee was the last person she saw when she died, blaming her for her death from the looks of it. And we find out that she can paint, she's right-handed, and she's also a little self-absorbed. I mean, the first painting she does is painting her own original face. So, yeah. And she's a little more of like I don't know if self-righteous is the same word, but she's very like holier than thou type of thing. Like she thinks what she's done is better than everybody, from my impression. So there's that. But let's move on to the other characters. I'll keep the list going if we learn more about the primes and stuff like that. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just do a separate section. We'll see how this goes. But also, we do see Gabriel Santiago again in the video diaries. We see him reverse engineer the prime memory drives 25 years after that first Red Sun massacre we saw in 502 or 602 that took the lives of Josephine and all the other the primes. So this is where we see Gabriel, 25 years older, as well as the original Russell, bringing Josephine back for the first time. And she was the first one they realized that the host had to have a mature brain in order for the transfer to be completed. So we see that through the video diaries. Also, it's still believed that Gabriel is also the old man that the children of Gabriel are after. So it's very possible that he used the same technology to make himself immortal, and yet he's trying to get maybe his followers to undo his bidding, or undo what he had started. So we'll have to find out about that, because there's no way that it's not a coincidence that they're called the children of Gabriel, and the guy who created this act of immortality is named Gabriel, right? So there's that. Also, we do meet Blythe Ann again. She tells Jordan to call her BA, and she's Delilah's mother. And while she's kind of mourning Delilah, they're not really mourning her. They're celebrating the fact that she's now taken on Priya and being her host, which Jordan just does not understand. But we do get a face to a name to her as well. And then also with Diosa, we do find out that the scar on her throat, she actually did that to herself. And then she also claimed that to Octavia that she was once like her, being a hurricane of destruction, and that she was trying to get Octavia to come to some realizations about herself as well, to figure out what it is she truly wants, because Octavia's been doing things where she doesn't care if she lives or dies, but then Diosa gets her to see and truly come to terms with whether or not does she actually want to die, or is she does she want to still live? And Octavia proves that she does still want to live. In a very cool way, too, with how she managed to escape death the way she did. So there's that. And also with Jordan, we do see him in action being very tech-savvy like his father, Monty. So we do see that. We do also see Bellamy comparing, or not comparing, but like making those comments about like, oh, just like his father type of thing. So there's that. Now let's move on to tidbits very quickly. Now the people of Sanctum, or the Sanctumites or whatever, I don't think that they know that the souls of the hosts to the primes are destroyed when the primes take over. I think they believe it's a coexisting agreement type of thing, because when Jordan confronts Priya and tries to confront Delilah's parents about how can he be okay with this, they killed her, and then Priya takes over and kind of says something to reassure Jordan that like, this is what Delilah wanted. She wanted you to know this, as if Priya is talking to Delilah mentally, which gives the impression to everybody else that Delilah is still there. She's not in control, but still there. When Jordan and the others know that that's not the case, they actually killed Delilah. So I believe that the only reason the Sanctum people of Sanctum are agreeing to this whole prime thing is because they believe that the host is still alive after this, after they've accepted the prime identity, you know? I think if they had known the truth of the fact that they're pretty much offering up their child to be sacrificed for another to take control, I think they would riot or something. I don't think they would allow and worship these people. I think if anything, they would probably do whatever they can to eliminate those memory drives so that no one's life is sacrificed in that way. So I truly believe that if they knew the truth, that's what would happen, instead of them worshiping these primes that are taking away the innocent lives of those who just happen to be born of the blood that could accept their technology. So instead of on Earth with the Grounders and the Nightblood and how they view it being sacred and also as a curse because they are hunted down and have to kill one another for it, the same is kind of said for the primes. If you're not born with the Nightblood or royal blood, you're pretty much safe from having another body possessing you type of thing. I hope that makes sense. I'm kind of rambling. I'm kind of losing my own train of thought as well, but you'll get the idea. So I think they don't truly understand or truly know what happens when a prime takes control of the host. So there's that. Also, tidbits. There were 4 moments where Josephine truly fucked up as trying to pass as Clark. First one being, she was right-handed instead of being left-handed, and she did it in front of Abby, and Abby called her out on it. And instead of trying to flub her way through it, she distracts Abby with a way to save Kane, which I will mention later on because that's not okay. Second flub was the fact that she let Maddie go to school. This causes Gaia to do a double take. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? This is not what we agreed to. So that's something there, which I think in a way spikes Gaia's. It definitely had her on more high alert than before. So there's that. Third one was not speaking in Grounder language. She did that both to Bellamy and Gaia. She wasn't able to. The first time with Gaia, she wasn't able to, but then the second time, or the 2 times that she did it with Bellamy, she had already got a brief understanding of where the language was based from, so she was able to translate it, but not as fluently as if she were to speak it. But she did flub those 3 times there. And then the 4th time was when she called Murphy by his first name. She did that twice. She did that first in front of everybody, and you could see Murphy, he just did a double take. It's like, what did you just call me? And then I think everybody else noticed that too, and they thought like maybe it was just a slip. But then she did it again to him when it was just the 2 of them, and he even commented the fact that that's the 2nd time you've called me, and then that's when she admits that, yeah, I'm not Clark type of thing. So those are 4 moments, but technically it was like 1, 2, 3, 6 moments that she just fucked up as being Clark. And I'm like so mad that not everybody picked up on it. Like you can see them doing double takes, but you don't see any of them questioning whether or not like, well, what's going on with her type of thing. So there's the tidbit there. many tidbits there. But also, another one is the fact that Raven, Echo, and Imori, they're not shown. They're explained as being away with Riker so that they can learn how to make a radiation shield. So that's why they're not shown on screen. So there's that. And then also we do see Abby and Jackson arguing over their roles during Blood Reina's Dark Year. Also over Abby's being obsessed with trying to find a solution to help Kane, and Jackson just wants her to take care of herself first. But yeah, so that's not really helping there. And then also we do also see Bellamy bringing it up to Clark, not only as Josephine, about knowing about her plans with Killian after the party. So either he saw them walk away together or something, but he definitely doesn't know that Killian is dead, though the way Josephine replies about that implies that some rough fun happened, which gives the impression to Bellamy. But we know the fact that, well, she's referring to his death, so that's something. So there's that. But he did comment on the fact that happiness looks good on her. I so wish it was the real Clark he was saying that to, and that it wasn't with Killian that she was getting the happiness from. But, you know, anyways. Ship status, Bellamy versus Josephine. They're on opposite sides on everything. He's against the Primes. She's with the Primes for obvious reasons until he discovers later on that they're on opposite sides for good reason, because she's not who he thinks she is. So there's that. Murphy and Josephine, we do see her trying to recruit him because of his interest in being immortal with his own memory drive type of possibility. So there's that. With Jordan and Delilah, we do see him trying to get to the bottom of what happened to her and why she doesn't know him like they have known each other the past 2 days. Everyone thinks it's just a one-night stand infatuation, but he actually figures out the truth. And then it later on comes to him trying to mourn over his first love, or try not to accept that. So there's that. And then we see Gaia and Maddie. We do see Gaia being a lot more protective of Maddie being exposed and her being subjected to the fate of what it means to be a Nightblood in Sanctum Society. So we do see a little bit of that. I'm still waiting for Indra to come back. Where is she? So there's that. But let's move on. Most shocking moment of the episode, I think it has to be how late in the episode Josephine revealed her identity. I kind of was hoping sometime. I'm glad it at least happened in this episode. Granted, only Bellamy and Murphy actually know. One of them because Josie allowed it. The other one, no. But it's so late in the game, it's just it was frustrating. But then again, I'm more pissed off by the episode than shocked about any event because of Clark's situation. Every time Clark appeared, Eliza did a very good job of being Josie, but the fact that she's Josie and not Clark, it really pisses me off. So this whole episode, every time she appeared, it's no, it's don't be there. I don't want you there because you're the enemy. Get out, get away from my characters and stuff. So it's it should be what's my pissed off moment instead of what's my most shocking moment. But yeah, there's that. So let's move on to top 3 favorite moments. First one is Jordan's determination for answers, which led them all to the Project Eureka video diaries. Now, I love that we got to see Jordan, Gaia, Bellamy, and Murphy discovering all this and really having what happened synced in. I like how they also brought up the history of what they know about the flame, what they know about Becca creating it. They're also bringing up many things over the past 5 years about how they created Nightblood, how the flame worked, how Becca created it, what all of it was meant to do, and how the flame chose the commander. I like how they brought all that history up. The only thing I hated was the fact that Josephine was there to hear all of it. They all think it's Clark, which makes it even worse, but I hate that she now has all this inside scoop. She's really getting the detail of the history of what they know about the technology. So if she was not there, and if it was actually just Clark, I would have been so much more happier with this scene. But the fact that it's her, being the Trojan horse, essentially, is just no, don't. But I do love that Jordan didn't stop until he got an answer. I'll bet it got him to a bad answer about Delilah, but at least they now are fully aware of what's happening inside the walls in Sanctum. So there's that. Another favorite I did have was the fact that Bellamy figured out that Josephine wasn't Clark. It sucks that she managed to get the drop on him and inject him with the paralytic, but I love the fact that he figured out that. I love that he immediately switched to grounder speak. I don't know if he was doing it because he was testing her or if it was truly because he it was a confession he didn't want to speak in English, so I'm gonna think of it as him trying to test Clark because he has his suspicions. But I feel like the conversation they had, I wish it was between him and Clark because that's something they really need to talk about. But then I also know that they wouldn't have had that conversation because they already would have known about it with each other. So instead, he had to talk about it with a stranger who had his friend's face on it, right? So at least he is aware. It just sucks that he's now paralyzed somewhere and pretty much having, at least I'm comforted by the fact that he's not going to become a host now. But now I'm worried what they're going to do to him. But I'm loving that he figured it out on his own. Again, sucks that he was by himself when it happened, so no one else is aware. So there's that. But there's a timer, but let's move on. Another favorite I had was, did anyone else get any Mount Weather parallel vibes? Because that's what I'm loving. The fact that we get callbacks to season 2. Again, it's like history repeating itself, which kind of sucks. But then at the same time, it's like, again, our people are found in this situation again. Are they going to do what they did in season 2 when it came to Mount Weather, or are they going to do something different? Because as you remember in Mount Weather, the Mountain Men needed something from Sky Crew, which was their bone marrow, in order to allow them to go up on the top side of Earth so that they could breathe the air and not have radiation poisoning. So that's something they need. And this time in Sanctum, Sanctum needs Nightbloods, and the Earthborn, or our characters, know how to create Nightblood, so that's something there that they need from us. Instead, they're using violence instead of just asking our characters for help. Mountain Men, they just started taking the Grounders and taking Sky Crew and just drilling away their bone marrow instead of asking them, could you donate it a little bit for every little bit of time so we can find a way to save all the people in the mountain. Instead, in this case, Sanctum could have done the exact same thing, could have figured out, oh, you know how to create Nightbloods? We need more Nightbloods. Can you make us into Nightbloods? Sure, why not? Let's do it so that you have more Nightbloods instead of you dying out when you need Nightbloods. So it's like they could, all it takes is just some simple negotiation. But no, again, we see our characters being attacked without being, and having something taken from them because they killed Clark when they, just so they can get more information. If they just talked about it, they could have all have been peaceful happiness, and now we're not going to get that. So I'm wondering, I will not be surprised if our Earthborn characters go down the path of violence to protect themselves, because Sanctum fired the first shot by killing Clark. So it's like, what you gonna do? So I do appreciate the parallel. It's definitely showing that they are paying attention history-wise. I mean, they did the parallels with season 1 and season 5. Now we're getting parallels with season 2 and season 6. So that's pretty cool now that I think about it. And then also tying it back to what they have known in the previous years and how it ties into what they're learning now about these new people is pretty cool as well. So I'll just leave it at that. And another favorite I did have was Murphy's reaction to Josephine possessing Clark. Like, he literally backed away from her when he realized, like, you're not Clark anymore. And then he realized who she actually is. He was like, get away from me. But, like, I truly hope that if he does agree to, like, help Josephine out, I hope he's a double agent and he's doing it so he can gather more information. And kind of like when in season 3, another parallel, you know, when Murphy ended up being stuck in Polis, and he ended up having to work under Titus, and then he had to be stuck being Antari's boy toy, and he was doing all this to survive. So I'm hoping, if anything, Murphy does the exact same thing with Josephine. He does everything he can to acquire all the information he needs and be the cockroach that he is, and then he finds a way to weasel out, or at least get the information so that he can help his friends combat the Sanctum, the people of Sanctum who are trying to keep him prisoner. So I hope that's his plan, instead of him just looking out for himself and try to be immortal and take Josie up on her offer. So that's my hope for Murphy. I hope he's grown a little bit there. But yeah, I did appreciate the fact that he was not pleased to find out that Clark was actually dead, because like he had a very abrupt reaction from Josie when she said, "Yeah, Clark's actually dead," type of thing. Like, if you watch that back, he jumped out. I was like, wait, what? So there's that. But let's move on to top 3 peeve moments before I really ramble on about Clark and Murphy, or Josephine and Murphy. fudge. Wow. Okay, so top 3 peeve moments. The first peeve I had was the fact that Abby was so focused and obsessed on finding a solution for Kane that she completely dismissed her discovery of Clark suddenly being right-handed. I mean, when she noticed that about Clark, I noticed that about Clark, and I was like, why are you right-handed? And then you could see the fear on Josephine's face when she realized, like, oh crap, I'm like, I could be caught. And the fact that Abby was so I thought, like, this is the moment that she's gonna blow it, she's gonna be caught, and then, like, Abby's gonna be like, well, who are you, where's my daughter, type of thing. But no, I'm so pissed that all it took was Josie to redirect Abby's attention to something to help Kane, and then that was it. Abby didn't question why Clark was right-handed all of a sudden. So it was just like, I'm so pissed by that, because, like, at the moment, Kane is safe in cryo sleep. Why is Abby pouring so much of her attention into finding a way to save Kane when he is currently as safe as he can be? Yeah, he's asleep, but he's at least frozen and his situation is stabilized for now. The moment you wake him up, that is when you are in a shit ton of a time constraint right there. But the fact that you're not even in an unknown place, you know nothing about this place. All the fact is like, oh, they have a lot more technology. Let me take it all in. It's like, no, Abby, focus your priority. The fact your daughter is technically dead and being possessed by some other homicidal maniac, and yet you're more focused on your cryo sleep boyfriend. Like, come on, priorities here, lady. I mean, like, the moment where, like, she recognized, like, why are you right-handed all of a sudden, and then I'm like, this is it. This is the moment that we can get some redemption here with the mother-daughter thing. And it's like, nope, tossed it away. You're now more obsessed with your boyfriend who's asleep. So it's just like, yeah, that was not Abby's finer moments for me. Absolutely not. So that was a huge peeve there. And then another peeve I did have was the fact that Josephine claims that Clark is dead. I refuse to believe that Clark is dead. There's got to be a way for her to come back from this. There's got to be a way that she could kick Josephine's butt to the curb. I mean, I really hope they just fry the memory chip and get rid of Josephine for certain, just like they got rid of the Allie chip from Raven, I think in 311. So I hope they do that and then find a way to save Clark. Maybe if they go to Gabriel, old man Gabriel, if that's who he really is, and maybe he could find a way to bring the host's soul back to life, then maybe there's something. I refuse to believe to believe that Clark is dead. I don't know how many times I'll say it. I love Clark. I love the type of character she is. I love how she's represented. And the fact that she's gone already is like, no. We'll leave it at that. But random questions. Let's move on to that very quickly. First one. What the hell was that green energy flare that Octavia and Diosa had to take cover from? I mean, did it just, like, crystallize or, like, solidify that whole area, or did it kill everything? Because it definitely it forced Octavia to go underneath the quicksand, and then it just completely froze over, and then Diosa had to really chip away and smash into that ice in order to bring Octavia back out of it. Plus, also, Octavia's hand kind of looked like it was bare-boned, as if, like, the nutrients were sucked out of her. So I was like, what the hell was that energy thing for? And again, it reminds you of the acid fog, because Xavier heard the warning sounds for this energy thing happening. He took cover. He warned them to take cover as well. And it's the exact same thing with the acid fog back on season 1 and season 2, where the Grounders had that warning, and then to find out that it was Mount Weather that created the acid fog. So it's like another parallel right there. So it's like, but what the hell is that energy thing for? So there's that. Another question. Who believes that they will try to make everyone a Nightblood so that they are all compatible with their own prime memory drive? I mean, that would be good for this generation, but then it's going to become a whole nother issue when the need for the next host comes up, because now the problem will arise again where you have to pretty much populate a whole nother generation, and then you're going to have to sacrifice those innocent people to inject the memory drive people into them to continue the line. So, like, there's really no progression of the species if you're repeatedly rebooting people again and killing those who evolution has continue to evolve. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's great for the first generation to get them all to be immortal, but then if the body keeps on dying, then like you're gonna have the same issue of needing more hosts every time. So unless they can find a way to make the body immortal with the mind, then you're gonna keep having issues. So that's, I mean, making everybody immortal will be a short-term solution, but then you have the issue of the fact that, well, now we need a new host. What are we gonna do now? So there's that. Another question: what did Josephine do to Bellamy after paralyzing him? I'm very worried about that. So there's that. And the last question: how did the prime memory drives differ from the flame? I mean, the flame is able to hold many consciences or many minds of the previous commanders and have them be accessible to the current host. But the prime drive seems to have it so that they erase the mind of the host, and then they insert the prime memory drive and reboot the consciousness that was saved in the memory drive. So kind of reversing it, how like everything that happens to the person gets saved in the memory drive, and then once that gets taken out and put back in a new body, they upload that into the empty host. So I'm wondering, why is that different? I mean, did the flame start out as a memory drive, or was it something else differently that Becca had done to it that makes it different from the memory drive? And if they could find a way as to how it could be different, then maybe they could turn the memory drive into its own flame, so that so it's not just one soul that occupies the memory drive, but it's every one that comes from it. Right? And I hope that's something that Maddie can tapping into the first Becca Promheda, the first commander. So I hope, like, because it's her technology, right? So I hope that she can speak with her. So there's that. So let's move on to predictions very quickly. Based off the promo for 606, the episode isn't coming back until June 11th, so we get 1 week break before the episode comes back. And it looks like in the promo that we see Josephine in Clark's body trying to recruit Abby to her side, claiming that doing this will regain their humanity, while Abby doesn't agree with the idea of taking away innocent lives. At least that's what the clip kind of insinuates. We also see Deoza catching up with Xavier, and then we also see Echo taking a walk in the woods, and we also see her coming across someone who looks like he's being eaten by a tree, and he begs for mercy, and she gives it to him. From the way the promo was cut together, it looks like she kills him to save him from the tree, which is still weird, but there's that. But the synopsis for the episode reads: Deoza learns more about the mysterious children of Gabriel, while Abby continues searching for a way to save Kane. First off, where's Octavia? Does she separate from Deoza from this? So that's a question there. And also, to be honest, I'm not really interested in Kane. As long as he is in cryo sleep, he's safe. You don't really have to focus your energy on trying to find a way to save him. You should focus on how you're going to live and how you're going to set up the lives for everybody else, and then go focus on how you're going to save Kane. Because at this point, it's like, why? He's already stable in cryo sleep, so why poke the bear when you don't have to, type of thing, right? But like, Abby's focus can be better spent on trying to figure out what's wrong with your daughter. But yeah, so there's that, which is probably going to cause tensions with Jackson. But otherwise, that is pretty much it. What did you guys think of this episode? I mean, technically, this was the first one without Clark. Really? I mean, right? Yeah, this is the first one where we don't actually have Clark in the episode. So, like, wow. So what did you guys think of it? What did you guys like about it? What do you think could have been a little different? Aside from the fact that Clark should not be possessed by Josephine, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check my other videos if you like. If you like anything I comment on. But yeah, I really want to know what you think about this whole idea of Clark being possessed by this psychotic Josephine. I'm definitely not liking it still. But yeah, love to hear your thoughts about that. Also, if you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, GIFs, synopses, news, all the good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. Now I gotta think how am I gonna tag this whole Josephine possessing Clark scene. I'm sorry, it's just, I really don't like it, because, like, I mean, like, usually like, I'm not foreign to the idea because of Supernatural and the originals and the Vampire Diaries. They do it on occasion. But, like, with this one, it's like, no. It's like, I'm against it. So, sorry. But I'll leave it at that. Also, WordPress account, link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to my WordPress account. A little more organized, a little more detailed, but a work in progress as well. But otherwise, that is pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for listening to my angered ramblings about this episode. I'm not usually this angered. It's just like this twist on Clark. It's just, I'm not okay with it. So I guess I have to go to fan fiction for now until it's resolved on screen. But otherwise, I hope you come back in 2 weeks to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week wherever you are. And bye.